invited you. I want to welcome you to the Elizabethtown City Council regular meeting for April 15th, 2019, and I'd ask that you bow your heads so we can have an invocation. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be up here. I want to thank you for our council, all of our city employees, the great admin staff that you put together for this city. I also want to thank you for this beautiful spring day. It's beautiful outside. The rains have cleared out. We're glad to live here in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and we want to thank you for every opportunity that you've bestowed upon us. We want to thank you for these two classes from Helmwood Heights Elementary School that have come to exercise their right to say the Pledge of Allegiance in front of our flag in our city council meeting. We want to say thank you for all that you've given us, not only as a community, but personally with our families and health and wonderful people to be around. We ask that you continue to watch over our police and fire, our military, whether they're domestic or abroad, and bestow your blessings upon them. We ask that you continue to give us guidance to make the best decisions possible for this great city that we live in. And as always, it's in your name that we pray. Amen. Amen. At this time, Mrs. Hebner and Mrs. Davis's 5th grade class from Helmwood Heights Elementary School. Ms. Turner, if you'd like to come up too, and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. Come on up front if you don't mind.
All right, we ready? Lexi, start us off, will you? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here, get here tight together and let's take a picture. Can we do that? All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Next up is approval of minutes from April 1st and the April 8th, 2019 meetings. I need a motion in a second. Yeah.
Motion.
All in favor? Opposed? Next, we have some presentations. Tourism Commission, Steve Fulkerson, please step up. He's going to give us a quick update.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to be here with the council today and share a few recent highlights from tourism. It's been busy. It's been a busy past few weeks and increased visitors due to spring breaks and to kick off the spring travel season. Sports Facilities Management, the new sports park operating company, is in the process of interviewing and hiring several full-time positions for the sports park. Part-time and seasonal staff won't transition until closer to the July timeframe. The current staff team has been hard at work making sure all of the elements being held at the park go smoothly. Our thanks go out to Seth, Ed, and Mayor for continuing to work with ET, CP, and the SFM during this transition. The next time you come to the Business Center on Mulberry, you'll notice a new awning over the back of the entrance. It's blue and has the Elizabethtown logo on it. The back parking lot is the larger of our lots, and future efforts will be made to direct our meetings traffic to the back entrance in order to keep space available at the front entrance for walk-in visitors. We continue to receive positive feedback and social media traffic on our Tourism Tuesday. videos being posted on our channels. Each Tuesday, a local business or attraction is featured in a video about what they have to offer our guests to our community. Recent features have been Sky's the Limit, Bourbon Barrel Tavern, and the historic State Theater. If anyone would like to have their business featured or make a suggestion, we encourage them to contact us on social media or simply call the visitor center. We anticipate continuing this series, so we are filling up the schedule now. The commission would like to thank Council Member Terry Shipp for inviting our new director, Jenna Clark, to speak at the recent noon Rotary meeting. We appreciate opportunities to share what we are working on and get new ideas from our local business community. And lastly, we are looking forward to the new addition to the lobby of the Visitor Center. Local artist and gallery owner at Hip South, Courtney Ballard, is in the process of painting our new Elizabethtown mural. You can read more about the mural in the upcoming issue of the News Enterprise. We also plan to invite the public to an official mural unveiling event this spring. As always, thank you for your support of ETCB and for your work on behalf of the city of Elizabethtown.
Thanks, Steve.
Any questions?
Thanks, Steve. Sarah Vaughn, Brittany Raymond, State Theater.
Something new, right?
That's right.
Just to kind of give you an update and an overview, we've had 11 rentals in the past about 3 weeks, I believe is where that number's from. Had an attendance over 180 last Saturday for the State Farm. So as you all know, there was a partnership created a couple months ago with State Farm for the second Saturday movies. This past Saturday was one of the most successful ones. State Farm was really, they're really interested and really excited to get in there and do some additional promotions, which clearly helps the theater as well. So we're very happy to partner in that. They sat outside all day and gave out free bubble gum and sunflower seeds to all the kiddos that came to the movie, and then even paid for any kid that showed up in uniform, which we had over 70, I believe, total that did that. So just a great day, and they're really brainstorming and a great partner to the city and to the theater of things that they can do in the future with their partnership, and they're very happy with it as well. So upcoming shows, of course, the next concert is going to be Joe Diffie. We're up to about 460 that are sold. So those promotions are going really well, and hopefully we'll close in on that 650 number closer we get. June the 1st, 4th in Maine, and then Edwin McCain is July the 12th. So really excited about the upcoming shows for that. I have brought Brittany here, who has been kind of holding my hand the last couple of weeks, getting me through acclimation to the theater. So she'll be here for the next thing as well. But you might have any questions?
Sarah, if you don't mind, and Brittany, if you'll go up there with Sarah for a second, our next speaker is going to be Heather Hagan-Jones from St. Baldrick's. And I got to brag on Heather a little bit. She and I went to school together almost all our lives. And she has been the spearhead and the driving factor behind the local St. Baldrick's chapter and the wonderful things that they've done and the money that they've raised. So we're glad to let her come and speak to us a little bit and let her tell you a little bit how successful things were this year. So Heather, have at it.
Well, I'm an honor. Thank you so much for that kind introduction. And I love your haircut. I love your haircut. See, I know we have some other guys here that have some haircuts. But I just want to thank the city. I want to have some sheet out. I want to thank the city of Elizabethtown, Mayor Gregory, the Elizabethtown Fire Department, Chief Malone. His mustache has already grown back. See, it's not that scary. Parks and Rec, and Hardin County Sheriff's Department. We even had Sheriff John Ward walked in at the end, and Trevor Berger said he'd give $100 for him to go bald, and he did it last minute. So it was a wonderful event. We had it May 9th at the State Theater, and I just can't thank you all enough for supporting us. This is our third year being downtown the second Saturday, and the Heritage Council. Everybody's been so supportive, like our community always does. Our goal was to raise $30,000, and we raised $37,000 for childhood cancer research. And, I'm a mother of a childhood cancer survivor, so this didn't think I was gonna cry, but this just really means a lot to me to be able to do something to fund research for safer treatments and the cure. And I also brought along with me my favorite oncology nurse, one of my favorites, and a retired Army veteran, Bob Wilkinson, and his granddaughter Olivia. He started the event 9 years ago, and next year will be our 10th year. So please let your hair grow out and save some money. Childhood cancer is the #1 disease killer of our children. It affects a lot of children in our community and in our county. So I can't thank you all enough. And I'd like to present this plaque to the State Theater and give a super extra heartfelt thanks to Sarah Vaughn for just going above and beyond. And Amy Inman, it was just the picture she did downtown. It really means a lot to a lot of families. You might not hear about it a lot in our community, but we had a great turnout. The weather was horrible and the room was crowded and people were smiling and laughing. And it was just a really great event. It was definitely my favorite. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, State Theater.
I wasn't there.
Okay, while they're getting pictures, next I have a proclamation which recognizes May 2019 is Building Safety Month. I won't read the whole proclamation, but I do want to make sure that they get their due and know that we're recognizing that. So Building Safety Month for May of 2019. Now I'd like to ask Mr. Dozer and his friends with the Elizabethtown Mission Team if they would meet me up here at the podium real quick. As many of you may remember, last year, Elizabethtown, North Carolina went through some catastrophic flooding and lots of other issues due to hurricane type forces coming through. And so Mayor Berger at the time put together a group to send a bunch of aid from Elizabethtown, Kentucky to Elizabethtown, North Carolina, which started a process where we had some dialogue with that community. Mr. Dozer and his group with the Elizabethtown Mission Team kind of stepped that up a little more this year, and they took how many volunteers? 32 volunteers to Elizabethtown, North Carolina to work on some rehab of some buildings, and I'll let him explain to you some of the things he did here in a minute. But we thought it was very important for our community, and we really appreciated his thoughts and their willingness to go down to Elizabethtown, North Carolina, because I guess we kind of adopted them as a sibling city. So we've developed a proclamation that I want to read, whereas citizens have actively volunteered their time, talent, and energy to improve the community of Elizabethtown, North Carolina, which suffered from Hurricane Florence, and volunteers enhance the quality of life of others. And whereas it is fitting to honor the many volunteers who lent their time, skill, and effort to the community of Elizabethtown, North Carolina, and whereas the mission team has supported the Elizabethtown, North Carolina community with volunteering countless hours to lend much needed assistance, and whereas the assistance provided by the Elizabethtown Mission Team has enabled the community of Elizabethtown, North Carolina to heal, recover, and provide the best service possible to their citizens, and whereas the Elizabethtown Mission Team is a generous and giving group. Now therefore, I, Jeffrey H. Gregory, Mayor of the City of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, do hereby proclaim April 15th, 2019 as Elizabethtown Mission Team Day in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, in honor of the many citizens who volunteered to make this mission successful. So our many thanks for representing our city. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
He's going to tell you a little bit about some of the things that they got to experience.
Elizabethtown Mission Team has been together for 15 years now, going out and doing work and rehabbing homes in areas of disaster. When Elizabethtown, Kentucky partnered with Elizabethtown, North Carolina, I had the privilege of meeting with Mayor Berger and asking if it would be possible that our team might be a part of that connection down there. She put me in contact with Mayor Campbell out of Elizabethtown, North Carolina, and we began to form an idea of how we might get our team down there. And so through a lot of process of making that happen, we took our team to North Carolina and spent a week working on homes. We rehabbed the interior of 4 homes that had been totally gutted out. They've had 2 floods. Last year they had 35 inches of rain in 2 days, and it just overwhelmed the community. We completely did the drywall in 4 of those homes. The 5th project was rather interesting in that it was the prison that had been closed down. They're trying to rehab that prison into a center where they can host more mission teams and where they can also use it for fire training and police training academy in that area. We were supposed to stay there and house our team there, but it wasn't ready. So we actually divided our team out, and several of our team members stayed at the prison during the daytime and worked to get those dormitories ready, and very successful in doing that. We'd like to thank the city of E-Town for sending Jody with us. What a talented guy this is. He went in as an electrician and he hung lights, he did wiring, he got so many things done in that facility that we were actually able to use it on Thursday and Friday. That was not even anywhere close to being ready when we got there. But thanks to the city of Elizabethtown for allowing him to go with us and being such a vital part of what we did. Mayor Berger, we'd like to thank you, Jeff, for your help in what Mayor Berger has done, and to the city of E-Town Council. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, next order of business, we have about 4 ordinances that we need to vote through. First one is going to be a second reading, excuse me, on ordinance number 06/2019, regulating fishing in all city parks, lakes, and waterways. Need a motion and a second reading.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Mayor, this being a second reading, in summary, primarily this ordinance establishes our restrictions regarding fishing, including the size and number of fish allowable to be caught and kept, that they be aligned with that of the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources. That makes it easier for the officers of Fish and Wildlife to help us in enforcing those regulations. So ours are now identical with that of the state. Also establishes that our fishing permits and boat rentals will be established by the council each year during the annual budget process. So this was read the first time on the first day of April of 2019.
Very good. Need a motion and second to adopt.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor? All right, roll call, sorry. Councilman Bishop?
Yes.
Councilman Deneen?
Yes.
Councilman Shipp?
Yes.
Councilman Willoughby?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, we have ordinance number 07/2019, amending zoning map for 211 North Main Street. I'll need a motion and second reading.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed?
Again, Mayor, in summary, the Elizabethtown Renaissance Associates LLC requested this change in zoning for the property at 211 North Main Street from urban residential general, which is R4, to downtown mixed use, which is C5. This is at the recommendation of planning and zoning, and was read the first time on the first day of April 2019.
Any discussion?
Just a little bit of discussion on my end there. If anyone is in the room that called me and wanted to weigh in on this, I'm sorry. I had a couple of voice messages and I had a couple of emails. I have no idea if these people were for or against this measure, but it was after the close of testimony and I ignored you. I didn't even respond to you to let you know that I got your message. I'll do that now after, of course, the meeting and after the vote. But what I would have probably said in this particular situation is the testimony at the hearing and the areas that are researched. There's basically 5 different areas that the Planning Commission reviews to make sure that it's in line with the comprehensive plan. And in step 2, there were no areas of disagreement. Step 3, there were no areas of disagreement. Step 4, there were no areas of disagreement. And the only areas to where this did not, or where this particular proposal for an amendment came into play was the city's going to have to probably do a little work in there with the right of ways on those alleys to allow a little more room for traffic. But the only issues that we really had were parking, and the parking is supposed to be behind the location, and it is. But we do know that the alleys down there are a little bit tight. I think during the testimony there was 15 feet of right of way on each side of each alley, so we might have to do something down there to ease a little bit of the in and outs of the park and stuff down there. But here's what I would also say. I don't see hardly any areas of grade in this particular one because this property is in an area that's called downtown mixed use. That's what it's for. It's downtown mixed use. And an office and a residence, a beauty shop and a residence, a photo, photography studio and a residence, or whatever that it's almost perfect. It's almost verbatim what the comprehensive plan calls for. So I know we're gonna vote in a minute, and I'm gonna vote yes, but that's the reason why.
Anybody else?
My understanding is that the building that he was planning on using, I believe is going to remain, he's not going to tear down the building, it's just going to remain the building. So he's going to remodel the first floor and then the residency will be on the second floor. So as far as appearance to that neighborhood, it's not really going to have any impact whatsoever except for parking lot in the back.
I think hearing the testimony was, if I'm not mistaken, they had a budget of $150,000 to renovate that small house. So that'd be quite an improvement.
So I need a motion and a second.
Motion. Second.
Councilmember Bishop?
Yes.
Oh, you thought I asked you a question. Councilmember Deneen?
Yes.
Councilmember Shipp?
Yes.
Councilmember Willoughby?
Yes.
Okay, which brings us to ordinance number 8, 2019, amending zoning map for 571 Pine Valley Drive. I need a motion and a second to read. All in favor? All opposed?
Nay.
So we have 2 opposed to reading it?
I'd like to have some discussion before.
That we'll discuss
Usually
before
we-
we adopt.
Yeah.
Before we adopt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'll read it first, and again, just, in summary, is, well, all right. So you're gonna change your vote, or will you vote at least to read it?
Yes, but not.
Okay, all right,
Vote on.
that's fine, okay. All right, this is at the request of the Heartland Golf Club LLC for property located at 571 Pine Valley Drive. The request is that this property be rezoned from suburban residential limited R1 to urban residential limited R3. And this is at the recommendation of the Elizabethtown Planning Commission and was read the first time on April the 1st, 2019.
Now we'll have discussion.
First, I'd like to thank the planning commission and the planning department and Congress Skaggs, I think, was here with us tonight, and then the over 50 residents that showed up at this hearing. I think it was a few weeks back. Meeting was very, very long. I think anytime that you have a rezoning issue, there's, even in our comprehensive improvement plan, it states that there's always going to be some potential conflicts there and some areas that you have to work through. I thought the presenter stood up there for several hours. I think the meeting lasted 4 hours. I was there for 3 hours. Tyler, he stood up there and took a lot of heat for a long time. So I give him kudos for that. When it comes to our role as a city council, that we have to, each member has to weigh these facts that are presented to us, and each member may weigh them differently, just as the members of the Planning and Zoning Commission voted in a very tight vote. It was, I think, 3-2 to move it forward. So with that being said, there's some points I want to make and to clarify for some folks that may not have been in that meeting, and like to read some of the stuff here that falls basically right from our comprehensive improvement plan and from the planning and zoning summary of that meeting. This proposal is really to move an R1 suburban residential area, which is less than an acre, is to move it to a urban residential R3. On page 32, the suburban residential description reads, suburban residential uses should be primarily developed for single-family detached residential uses in a variety of development patterns. This classification is primarily applied in areas away from the town center, traditionally considered as suburban or rural rather than urban. In this particular case, they are asking to build a duplex, which falls under the urban residential description. On page 32, let me back up here. On page 30 of the comprehensive improvement plan, map number 2, its recommended land use shows the area related to the proposal as falling in that suburban residential designated area. Page 32, the urban residential description is, urban residential uses should be encouraged in areas closer to the city core, accessible to suitable infrastructure and adjacent to existing development patterns that support and are compatible with higher density single-family residential developments. Specific uses within this category include primarily single-family residential uses, but could also include some duplex and multifamily residential uses. Under this category, 5 units per acre is the minimum with the maximum of 12. On page 25, goal J, number 3, the development should occur in patterns where compatible independent uses are adjacent and where densities are similar yet effectively distributed on a community-wide basis. I believe some of the points that were made and put into the report from the commission stated that they were similar in density, requirements of suburban, which is the minimum of 2 and the maximum of 6. There will be 4 of these units, 2 duplexes being built that's being proposed. But the point that stands out is compatible independent uses. Are they compatible to those that are adjacent? In the application, they quote the village, which is a neighborhood of 100 homes that directly sit right next to it. 100 homes in that area, there is no duplexes. 100 homes in the adjacent neighborhood right across the street, so actually over 100 homes. They are all detached, no duplexes. Moving down the street, the other direction, there's over 100 homes in that area that are also all detached. So I can go on this particular point. Page 25, goal J, stands out to me. Existing desirable land use patterns should be identified and protected from intrusion by incompatible uses. That statement alone weighs very heavy in my decision. There are several other maps that this area falls into. Page 36, map number 3, the Ring Road's east sub area. This east sub area, we have our maps that designate certain sub areas, and inside those sub areas, they have targeted areas for development. In the east Ring Road sub area, there are several targeted areas, and none of these fall on this particular plot of land. But I would like to read what the East Ring Road sub-area recommended land use pattern says. The recommended land use pattern for Ring Road East planning sub-area is highlighted by commercial land use along Ring Road. The mix of uses allowed or recommended for the area along Ring Road is qualified under the discussion for targeted planning areas that follows. The balance of planning sub-area is primarily recommended for residential use. High-density residential recommended for the area between the commercial area along Ring Road and the railroad track. This is the area that's down by E-Town Swim and Fitness and the post office. But this last line in that category stands out. Inside Ring Road towards the downtown area, urban residential is the primary recommended land use. Outside Ring Road, suburban residential is recommended. You see the map on page 65, number 14. It goes into the Ring Road East land use map. There's a lot of areas that, in the 5 areas that Terry, that you spoke of on the last proposal, and there are areas of compatibility, and there are areas that are in non-agreement. And some of the non-agreement issues that were listed also I've already stated. In number one, step one, the utility policy, areas of non-agreement, sewer services available in the vicinity but not adjacent to this lot. The developer has stated that they would plan to connect there to the sewer. I think it's 145 feet away. In step two, the relevant property location and information. Areas of agreement, there were none. Area of non-agreement, single-family attached residence not considered suburban residential use. The key word there is attached residence, that being a duplex. Step three, compliance with the recommended future land use plan, areas of non-agreement. The proposed development is an attached single-family use, which is not considered suburban residential use. Step five and step four, there are several points that they make that do comply. In step five, the compliance with the targeted planning area guidelines is subject property is not within a targeted planning area. So based on these facts that I've read, based on the comprehensive improvement plan, I respectfully have to decline to vote no on approving this proposal. That's all I have.
I'm sorry, what I'm just doing this. Matt, appreciate your comments and respect your opinion. You kind of made my argument for me. I'm going to vote yes on the measure. There are only two areas that have any kind of conflict in this entire discussion. One sewer, and that's been addressed because the developers are getting the sewer run. And the other one is the verbiage attached versus detached. That's the only area of disagreement in the entire conversation, other than sewer. And I think those two, detached, attached, will probably be addressed as we revise our comprehensive plan over the next 18 months. We've already contracted a firm to do that, because basically that's the only thing that causes any disagreement. Whether the duplex is attached or whether it's not attached. This is not a high density thing. This is for patio homes, and because of the way the lot sets, and because the economies of building something under one roof attached, that's what it is. It's not a 20-plex, it's not a 10-plex, it's not a 16-plex, it's not a high density, it's just simply attached. That's the only word that I can see as I read through all of this, and as I said through the testimony, that's the only word, other than the sewer, that caused a conflict. Just that, attached, detached. So that's the only comment I have.
Like also the fact that we're looking at transitional uses, how we transcend from one area to the other. We tend to try to look at those areas, especially with our future land use maps, how we can accomplish those. And so, yes, my vote at this time is yes. And we're looking also at a limited suburban. And so when you kind of limit it, so I think.
And I agree. I mean, and I said at the hearing, this is on the golf course. I don't know a lot about things in this world, but I do know about golf courses because I've been on enough of them. And I can take you to almost any really, really nice golf course in the state of Kentucky that have homes and residences. And they have $1 billion homes, they have $500,000 homes, they have $250,000 homes, and they have patio homes. That's the way they are. And it does not cause problems. It does not make the golf course go down in value. It doesn't make the neighbors go down in value. It's just the way it is. And I think there's a lot of fear in there. I think there was a lot of fear in the room that night. What will a patio home do across the way from the golf course from where we live? And I think a lot of that can be protected. I feel the homeowner's fear about that. But, there's a development plan that still has to be taken care of. And that's where I think the residents should return to the planning meeting that night, the planning commission, because that's when you talk about screening, barriers, which way the driveways are gonna face, which way the garages are gonna face, which way the front doors are gonna face. What are we gonna see from our home? Is it gonna block our view of the golf course? Is it gonna block our view of the neighborhood across the street? You know, that's where you get your protection is from the development plan. So there's still another step in this process. And, so I would suggest that there be some discussion. If you still have any fears about that, if you're a resident there, I think that's where you need to show up, let your voice be heard, work it out.
I will add this on, since you brought up the transition areas, there's, in the Ring Road East Corridor, as new uses develop or properties redevelop, attention should be given to building details in order to ensure the buildings present an attractive, cohesive appearance. And these duplexes, and based on facts as I see them, now provide that cohesive appearance because there's over 300 homes that surround it. There are no duplexes. As far as the transitional area is concerned, there is a high density area at the end of the Pine Valley Road where there are condominiums built for the golf course. That area is over a half a mile away from this lot. The closest thing to a transitional area that we have falls under the North Dixie Avenue area map that includes 2 fourplexes that fall into that subcategory, and that is the transitional area that applies. I don't know what would be transitioning from neighborhood to neighborhood. That's all I have. I'm ready to vote. Anybody else?
Okay. So I need a motion and a second to adopt.
Motion.
Yep.
Second.
Councilmember Tony Bishop,
Yes.
Councilman Deneen. No. Councilmember Shipp,
Yes.
Councilmember Willoughby. So we have a tie 2-2, which comes to me. And I will say that I have a lot of respect for the research or the work that both sides have done. I think Matt brings up some great points. I think Terry and Tony bring up some great points. I've done my own research and I've spoken with our staff, and I have a lot of respect for the planning commission and the votes that they have made and the work that they have put in. And obviously they were 3-2, so it wasn't clear cut to them, without a doubt. And I can understand why it's not clear cut to the council as well. But weighing everything that I've weighed, I'm a yes vote. So that'll put us at 3-2. Motion carries.
And if I might, Jeff, just to kind of echo what you said, the planning commission, and I said this at the hearing, the planning commission is made up of civilians. They're not planners. They study the comprehensive plan, and their job is to be fair and equitable to everyone. But they are not professional planners. Our planning staff, who are professional planners, suggested an approval of this motion. And I can't tell you enough about what our planning staff, as far as I've known them, and how they've been involved, and how fair that they want to be, and how meticulous they are, and how they do their due diligence. And the time that I've spent sitting as a liaison on the planning commission, which I'm not now, Mr. Folkeson is now, but it goes back to Mr. Pope when he was the planning director for this city, and now Jim Shaw. Developers come into our town all the time, and they compliment us on the professionalism, the due diligence, and the staff that we have as at our planning department, our planners. And, we just get compliments and we get rave reviews about them all the time. And anyway, and I appreciate the work that they do, because some decisions are easy, some are not. This obviously was one that a lot of the residents there felt like should not be approved. But, I think it'll all work out. Like I say, I just remind everybody to come and do the development plan, and let's make sure you get your needs taken care of, and any concerns addressed there.
No, you're good, that's fine. So next order of business is the ordinance number 9, 2019, amending zoning map for 750 South Provident Way. Need a motion and second, please.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed?
This is a request initiated by Goss Hall Systems LLC for a zoning map amendment for the property located at 750 South Provident Way from suburban residential general, which is R2, to regional commercial, which is C3. And it was read the first time, and this is at the request, of course, of the Planning Commission, and it was read the first time on April the 8th, 2019.
Any discussion? You good on this one?
We're good.
All right, I need a motion and second to
So,
adopt.
so move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Councilman Bishop,
Yes.
Councilman Deneen.
Yes.
Councilman Shipp,
Yes.
Councilman Willoughby.
Yes.
Municipal order number 21, 2019, approving easement with Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. Need a motion and second to read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
At a regular meeting of the City Council of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, held on the date set out below, a motion to read and adopt the following municipal order was duly made, seconded, and approved. Whereas the city owns certain real estate located on St. John Road, which is Kentucky 1357 in Elizabethtown, more specifically known as Lucas Farms, Lot 1A, as recorded in the office of the Hardin County Clerk in Plat Cabinet 1, Sheet 5395. And whereas the Commonwealth of Kentucky needs a temporary construction easement from the city due to the widening of St. John Road, Kentucky 1357, more specifically known as Commonwealth of Kentucky Highway Project number, and a big long number, for this property at St. John Road. Now be it ordered by the Elizabethtown City Council that the easement agreement with the Kentucky Transportation Department for the access and use of the area along St. John Road and adjacent to the Elizabethtown Sports Park is approved, which grants access to the city property and allows for the removal of trees. Be it further ordered that the mayor of the city and or his designate is authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this order, including the execution and recording of an easement agreement, easement documents, and the receipt of payment in the amount of $6,050 for the temporary easement and removal of the trees. Read, adopted, and approved this the 15th of April, 2019.
Any discussion?
Does that mean we're getting close?
In a nutshell, what it means is they're starting to buy right away up, and we have some ground that there's some trees on that they're gonna need to remove, be able to do the work that they need to get done, so they need a temporary easement for their records in Frankfurt. We had to put this on the agenda tonight and voted in for them to be able to do it. Basically what it means. Is that fair, Ed? That's fair.
This is the same proposal, I think, we're planning on, we discussed earlier.
Right.
Yeah. It's all tied together.
Well, when I first started in January, the plan was, to do this project 2024, hope they had it done by then, but they moved it all the way up to 2021 completion date, hopefully. So we're getting rolling now. Hopefully they're gonna be able to replace a good bit of St. John Road there and widen and make it safer for that extra exit from the sports park as well as GC Burkhead and cities up there. So it's gonna be a real benefit between the bypass and Ring Road on St. John Road for the city. So we're excited about it. Motion approved. Need a second on that. Second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Anybody have any information? Anything they want to discuss?
How's that comment?
Sure.
I can't see Jim. I just want you, as well as every other department head that's sitting in this room, to know that I support you in all of it. But as an elected official, I have my due diligence that I am not going to just check off and just go along with whatever's been done in the past. Has nothing to do with your professionalism, but it has everything to do with me being an elected official. So I'm always going to look, I'm always going to do my research, I'm always going to do what's right, regardless of what anybody else says. But Jim, I appreciate you, I appreciate what your office does, as well, again, as every department head. Thank you.
prayers for everybody in France. They're going through a tough time right now.
And,
Fire.
happy birthday to
Seth Bright, Seth Bright. Throw your hand up, Seth. Happy birthday. How old today? Not to put you on the spot.
29.
He was 12. One thing I want to talk about real quick, just thought I'd mention it, East Scrap Recycling Event, April 20, 2019, from 8 to 2 o'clock at AGC Automotive. They'll take old computers, printers, cameras, cell phones, televisions, whatever you have that is old and you're not using anymore, that's sitting in the corner of your basement or garage. If you want to get rid of it, that's a good place to take it. So that's April 20, 2019, from 8 to 2 p.m. Don't you have anything? One other thing I want to talk about. Yesterday, I went to a great ceremony up at the First Baptist Church, and they dedicated the Von Reno Starks, or what was the Von Reno Starks Community Building, and made it the B.T. Bishop Christian Life Center. So I know Tony's not going to talk about that and brag on his dad, but everybody else in the community will, because he was a pillar, a staple, a legend, and a fine fella, and we're blessed for having him at the helm of that church for 52 years, and it was a great service, and I was glad that I got the opportunity to attend. So congratulations to your family on that. Anybody else? I'll wrap it up too quick here. We got to go into closed meeting pursuant to KRS 61.810 subsection 1 to conduct deliberation on future acquisition or sale of real property by the city, to discuss the general nature of existing and possible litigation by the city, to discuss specific economic developments and proposals, and to discuss personnel which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee, member, or student. So I'm going to go closed session here for a few, and I'm sure most of y'all are going to leave when we do that, but thank you for coming. And